always surprised by how many people have no idea how to plant a tomato. Here is our lovely tomato plant, and most people would just plant it at soil level. No, no, no. We actually want to trim off these bottom sets of leaves, like that and like that. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take that one too. Now we're actually going to plant it all the way up to here. Now that I have it nice and buried, let's talk about why. So tomatoes love a deep root system, and what we've done when we've buried that whole stem section is little root hairs are going to grow along that base stem to create a strong, very extensive root system, which results in a stronger tomato for us. So that's it, folks. Have fun. Make sure to save this video and follow along for more tips.
Tomato plants are getting big. I'm going to show you how I prune these and tie them off to get them to go up these cages. The way I grow these in these cages, I only want one main stem on these. So I need to get rid of all these suckers. And as these grow, I'll also keep pruning off these sun leaves. Because I'll have these with no leaves on them up to the bottom of that cage there. So they'll just kind of look like trees. On this rope here, I have tying these off as they're growing, and I'm cutting off those sun leaves. I'll just keep sliding this up. And I just have little slip knots tied in these, so I can move them and adjust them as I need to. And once these get up tall enough to where they're actually inside this cage, I'll take what I use is silver grass, and then you can use anything else really. And I'll just slide that through like that, and that'll support the tomato plant clear up. And I can also, if I want to kind of open it up so let some air through, I can tie the branches up there too. Every day I'll come through and prune some of these bottom leaves off and remove all my suckers until they reach the bottom of the cages.
These are some of the techniques I use to grow the most tomatoes. This is the variety I'm going to be working with today. It's a big beef indeterminate species of tomato. Plant your tomatoes deep to encourage a healthier root structure. Tomatoes have the ability to grow roots from the stem where these little hairs are. Make sure to remove the bottom stems and leaves, that way they won't rot under the soil. Tease apart the root balls so the roots aren't encouraged to continue to grow in a circle. Add a tomato cage or a support structure before the plant grows larger, that way you won't damage the foliage later. This may make you cringe, but it's a good idea to remove any of the flowers or small fruit when the plant is young. Doing this will encourage the plant to put its energy into growing taller and stronger before it has to bear fruit. The deeper and healthier the root structure is, the less frequently you're going to have to water it later. Oftentimes, tomatoes will grow sucker branches in between where the leaf meets the stem. Like the name suggests, these suck the energy and the nutrients away from the main plant, preventing it from growing bigger and healthier. It's a good idea to remove these when the plant is small, and you can also root them later and turn them into new plants.
So our tomatoes are a little older, so I want to show y'all a little bit more in depth of how we prune our tomatoes. So if you watched our original video on pruning tomatoes, these are the little spurs that I was talking about. So tomatoes have this main stalk here and then a bunch of stalks coming out the side. Now in between the two, in the little armpit, are these, and you do not need these. So these are what you're going to be pinching off. Now if you've waited a little bit longer to prune and those little leaves are pretty big, you can actually propagate that little leaf that you took off. So just plop that stem into a glass of water. It will then start forming its own roots, and then you can plant that in the garden. Now at this age, also what we do for pruning tomatoes is, if you see right here the little tomato flowers, we do go ahead and pinch those off because they're so young. We don't want them producing fruit right now, which this then turns into a tomato. So we pinch these off so that the plant grows big.
The tomatoes have been growing for 8 weeks, now it's time to transfer them. First, fill your pot with soil and gently remove the seedlings and their roots from the tray. Place 1 seedling in each pot. I used 1 large terracotta pot and a recycled can planter. With tomatoes, you can bury the stem in soil up to the first leaves. More roots will grow and the tomato plant will have better support. I recommend putting your plants outside at this point. Direct sunlight and water are very important for tomatoes.
Tomato plant care. Remove any leaves that touch the ground to prevent disease or fungus from spreading from soil. See the main stem. You want to keep true branches, but remove suckers growing from the shoulders. Pinch and carefully snap off or use clean clippers. There's another one. And another. And another. Who's the sucker now? Tie up your tomato plant to support it as it bears fruit. Use ties that are softer than your plant stem. Follow to learn more tips to help your plant grow healthy and happy.